This video is brought to you by my new album entitled Dougal's Treats. It's full of hummable melodies, bluesy riffs and the occasional bit of virtuoso flashy stuff as well. If you enjoy bluesy rock guitar with memorable tunes and solos that wail like a banshee, then check out the links in the description. The premium version includes all of the tabs for each tune, videos and jam tracks as well. Thanks for listening. Now on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now, these Top 5 Tuesday videos can sometimes be a bit of a challenge. I've been doing them every week for at least 5 years or so. So it's easy when you start off because, you know, your favourite guitarists, your favourite albums, all that sort of stuff. But after a while, you do start to think, well, I probably covered that before. I must have done. Like what I do is I go back through my YouTube archive and see what topics I have and haven't covered. And I was amazed to find that I've not done this one yet. I've done my favourite blues guitarists. I've done my favourite blues albums. But as far as I could tell, I've never done my 5 favourite slow blues songs or tunes. So that's what we're doing today. Starting with
Drink the Bottle Down by the Stray Cats.
Yes, the B-side of this single, Stray Cat Strut. I grew up on a diet of that 70s recycled 50s nostalgia, you know, as embodied by TV shows like Happy Days and movies like Grease, I suppose. And that sort of carried on into the early 80s with that rockabilly boom that was happening then. Matchbox were a great band, great British band, as big in the UK as the Stray Cats were. And the Polecats, a lot of them seem to have the word cats in the title, didn't they? And obviously Brian Setzer and the Stray Cats. And the single before this one, Rock This Town, I think I probably wore out a 7-inch vinyl of that just by listening to it again and again and again and again and again and again. But then, you know, this single that followed Rock This Town, and it was very, very different, it has to be said. And it sort of developed my palate for, you know, exotic augmented chords and whole tone scales, and set me on a path to a bit of jazz appreciation, I suppose. But the B-side, a live performance at Newcastle City Hall of a slow blues called Drink the Bottle Down. Lee Rocker, the bass player, takes lead vocals on this. Yeah, we'll gloss over Lee's vocals. But Brian's guitar playing on this, Brian Setzer's guitar playing, was just like nothing I'd ever heard before. Intense, powerful, virtuosic, and I don't really think I'd ever heard music like this before. There are a couple of tracks that I'm going to mention today that sort of got me focused on the blues, and I can't remember which order they came in. This might have been first, or another one might have been first, but dear me, if you've never heard this and you like a bit of blues, go and check it out. And bear in mind that as you're listening to this, you're listening to a 22-year-old Brian Setzer, and he is absolutely tearing it up. Just incredible blues guitar playing, and one of, if not the track that just awakened that blues appreciation in me. So it had to be on the list. Next,
Key to the Highway by Derek and the Dominos.
Yeah, this is the other one that could be jostling for pole position in terms of the tune that turned me on to blues. Basically, Layla was a song that I was aware of. As I've said many times before, it was the opening bars of Layla was used on a local TV current affairs programme. I liked it, found out what it was, went out and bought the album and heard the rest of the album, obviously. And yeah, Key to the Highway. The way it just kind of fades in out of the mist, and just the intense jamming between Eric Clapton and Duane Allman on this is just utterly joyous. I often talk about recordings where you can feel the vibe in the room as it's being recorded, where the musicians involved suddenly or gradually or in some way or other come to realise that they are part of something historic that is going to be there forever. It's not just another day in the studio, and the eye contact, and you can smell the cigarette smoke and probably other types of smoke as well that we shouldn't talk about. But yeah, just absolutely intense, fantastic, powerful, virtuosic, slow blues. Anyone that is a little bit mystified, and there's good cause to be, I suppose, about what all the fuss is about Eric Clapton. If you've only ever heard Wonderful Tonight or that calibre of song, then go and listen to Key to the Highway and you'll get what all the fuss is about, I promise you. Next.
Manish Boy by Muddy Waters.
Yes, from this album, Hard Again, which was this 1976 or thereabouts, which was sort of Muddy's comeback album. All these old blues guys had sort of been doing collaborations with the then, in the 1970s, modern rockers. I remember B.B. King did that Indianola, Mississippi Seeds album, didn't he? Hummingbird, and great tracks. It's a great album. And this was Muddy having a slice of that pie. And I first heard this not back then, because like in 1976 I was 9 years old. I was listening to ABBA and and other such top 40 stuff. You didn't hear that kind of thing on the radio, this kind of thing on the radio when I was a kid. But you remember in the 80s there was this advertising campaign by Levi's Jeans where they were using old classic rock and classic soul. I think it started off, didn't it, with that guy taking his jeans off in the laundrette to the strains of Marvin Gaye's I Heard It Through the Grapevine. And this was just, Manish Boy was just one of these songs, and the ad was about 30 seconds long, as a typical TV ad, and you heard 30 seconds of just pure, unbridled, fantastic, gut-wrenching blues. Just incredible. And unusually it's just a riff that goes on for however long it is, 5 minutes or so, with Muddy kind of scat singing and coming up with I don't know whether he certainly doesn't sound like he's got a lyric sheet in front of him, he's just jamming. And I think Johnny Winter, who was either involved in the production of the album or certainly played on it, you can hear him hooping and whooping and hollering, you know what I mean, whooping and hollering in the background, and it's just the atmosphere of it and the vibe of it is just so infectious that it's just a joyous experience listening to this. This is what blues does. It's essentially a music about kind of angst and suffering and pain, but for some reason, maybe it's masochism, but us blues fans, it makes us feel so happy when we listen to it. Certainly does me. Anyway, so yes, Manish Boy by Muddy Waters absolutely had to be on the list. Next.
Red House by Jimi Hendrix.
Or is it by Gary Moore? Well, yeah, it's the Hendrix version, isn't it? Gary Moore does a fantastic version of this song on the Fender Stratocaster anniversary concert that was held at Wembley back in, what was it, 2004? Dear me, 21 years ago. And I still think of that as recent. That's when you know you're getting old, chaps. But yeah, when I got my first CD player, back in about 1990, I think it was, I went down to my local CD emporium and just bought a load of blues CDs. Well, I bought a load of my old vinyl collection and replaced it on CD, and I saw this. It was almost like one of those K-Tel or Ronco albums, kind of 50 or 100 blues greats or something like that. I think it was a double CD. and the opening track on it was Red House by Jimi Hendrix, and you can hear that little bit of chatter in the studio with Chaz Chandler coming through on the intercom, and they just launch into this with that famous opening riff. And at this time I was a little bit on the fence about Jimi Hendrix, because I'd grown up just hearing all of the usual kind of squealy feedback, smashing, burning guitars sort of clips on TV, and I'm thinking, not really sure I get this. But I'd gradually, as I was hearing Stevie Ray Vaughan and the influence there, and of course Stevie's version of Voodoo Child, I was starting to kind of see, but I was still a little bit, okay, Jimi Hendrix, jury's still out, but this is the one. This performance here was the one that absolutely nailed it for me, and thought, yeah, okay, I get it now. And I don't know how many versions. Every time you kind of listen to any kind of compilation or anything, because I don't think this was ever released as a single, and I don't think it was ever released on an album. It was just a B-side or whatever. I'm not sure about the release history of this song, but every time you hear a version of it, it's always slightly different. So I don't know how many versions Jimmy recorded of this, but I still think of the one that was on that, let's call it a K-Tel Blues compilation album. I still think of that one as the definitive one. Or is it Gary Moore's version? I don't know. Next.
12:15 Slow Goombash Blues by Shuggy Otis.
An album that I borrowed from a friend of mine when I was at college was this one here, Cooper Session, Al Cooper and Shuggy Otis. Shuggy Otis is the chap that you can see there in the background, the one without the hat, basically. And at the time of recording this album, he was 15 years old. Absolutely astonishing, beautiful, mature, emotional. Again, I'm going to use the word virtuoso blues guitar playing on this from a 15-year-old young blues protege. Not sure what he's up to these days. I see his name mentioned every now and again, but this guy, Shuggy Otis, should be regarded up there with all of the 60s and 70s blues greats, Clapton, Peter Green, Mike Bloomfield, Robin Trower, all of those guys. He should be, kind of regarded in the same breath as those. So if you're unfamiliar with this album, it is up on Spotify, if you want to go and check it out there, and there's versions of it up on YouTube. I'll put links to all of these in the description anyway, so you can go and check out at least my choices that I've come up with today. But definitely worth investigating this whole album. As I say, I borrowed it off. I borrowed the album off a friend of mine back in my college days in the 80s, and my next job was to immediately go down to the local music emporium and purchase a Maxell C90 chrome cassette, because, well, we're not allowed to admit that that's what we used to do in those days, but you know what I did with that cassette. Absolutely fantastic album. Great blues guitar playing, and this for me is a standout track. Just a really long, extended, slow blues improvisation instrumental. Fantastic stuff. And I suppose that's it. That concludes my list of my 5 favourite slow blues songs and tunes this week. Ask me next week, it might be slightly different, but not massively, I suspect. But there you have it, folks. Let me know what your thoughts on this list are, and I'm sure you probably have a similar list of your own. If you've clicked on a video about top 5 slow blues, then you probably have some interest and like of the genre yourself. So let me know what your list would be down in the comments. But that is the video for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed it and found it entertaining in some small way, maybe even informative as well. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. And of course, don't forget the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time, where we basically chat and drink beer, because it's Friday. Can you think of a better way to kick off the weekend? I'd struggle to. It's a great way to, as I say, ease yourself into the 2 days a week when most of us don't have to do any work, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.